Hi guys, welcome back to another video, another tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to sew this beautiful dress, this styles you see on the screen, and achieving a perfect neat finishing at the back, including the neckline, a split crew neckline. And this is what I'm going to be showing you in this video. Welcome, and then let's dive in, guys. I started by folding my fabric into two. I don't want any joining, so I decided to use the length, go by the length of the fabric. And then this is me marking half of the shoulder to shoulder measurements, and then you want to measure that on your body or your clients. I will extend it down that way, although we're still going to calculate our chest line, but then that's the half of the shoulder measurements that I've imputed there. Then you want to go ahead and mark your shoulder slants, which is 1 inch on that part, and this is just to help make the dress to lay nicely on the shoulder. Then go ahead and mark your normal round neck measurements. And then in the video I did make use of 3.3 inches for the width, and the depth was 4 inches, then 8 inches to the part where the split is going to end, as you can see it there. And that's how I went about to mark it. Then the next thing is to calculate our chest. To get the chest line, you want to calculate your bust divided by 6 plus 1.5. I love using that. Another way you can do that is to take your round sleeve measurements here, then divide it by 2. Round sleeve measurements around your armhole. And next thing I went ahead to mark, okay, I'll still get back there. And then what I just marked there is 1/4 of the bust measurement. On the waistline, which was from the shoulder to the waist, was 18 inches. I drew the line, then impute 1/4 of the waist measurement. On the hip line, for the hip line I did come down by 7 inches from the waistline. Then I imputed, put in there the 1/4 of the waist measurement, then go ahead and connect it that way. Yes, that's from the chest line to the waist to the hip line, 1/4 of each of those. Then what I had on the hip line, I'm going to take it down to the hem of the dress. So I went ahead to measure the length of the dress, which is, you want to determine that on yourself, wherever you want the length to get to. Then on that part, what I did was to bring down what I have on the hip line, as you can see. Then I didn't want to make it straight. Like, I think what I had there was around 15 inches, so I don't just want to take it down like that. So I added 3 inches just to give it a kind of a little bit flare down there, just to make it free, like an A-line one. Yes, so that's what I did on that part. And then I'll also, from the chest line and towards the shoulder slants, you want to determine the midpoint. I went in by 0.5, then connect it that way. So the same, if you have been following my videos, you know I love doing this. Even on pattern, which is normal, you want to go in by 0.5 and then connect it to your chest line, where you mark your 1/4 of your bust measurement. And that's how to get that. So before I went ahead to cut it out, I had to just add the sewing allowance. This is very important for somebody that uses, for people that uses freehand. I know sometimes it can be, it's very likely or possible for you to forget to add it. But it's very important that you remember. I almost forget here because I'm used to pattern drafting. You know, when you draft on pattern, you still add your sewing allowance by the time you are transferring on the fabric. So I've gone ahead to mark those 0.5 inches around the neckline, on the shoulder, and then around the armhole area, as you can see. And on the side, I added 1.5 inches. You can decide to add 1, 2, whatever allowances you want to add. So that's the way I went about to cut it. Like I rightly said, for those lines, the waistline, your chest line, you want to just mark 1/4 of those measurements. On the bust line, you want to mark that on the waist. So that's the way to go about that. Now we want to cut the back pattern now. So I went ahead to place my fronts on another folded fabric. Then I will mark 1 inch for the zipper allowance, 1 inch all the way down from the start, which is the shoulder, to the hem of the dress. I've gone ahead to mark my 1 inch all the way down, 1 inch all the way down. I don't want the video to be too long. That was why it kind of look like it's fast, but yeah, I'm actually trying to take my time to explain it so that you can get it better. So that's the way I went about to place the front pattern on the back pattern after marking the zipper allowance, which is 1 inch. There's one important thing you need to do. Because a dress is free does not mean that when you sew it or when you wear it, you shouldn't have that fitting, nice fitting. It shouldn't lay nicely at the back. This is what most times when I see some videos, I see some dresses at the back, even if it's free dress, at least you should at least see the fitting on the back side, the back view. This is going to have a zipper. That's why I added 1 inch zipper. That's the waistline there. I love to go in by 0.75. You can use 0.5, you can use 0. I love 0.75. I know most people love to use 0.5. So you extend it all the way up to the neckline and to the hip line. Thereby, by so doing, you're able to eliminate the folding at the back of your dresses or your top or your outfits, and making it to relax. At least the fitting will be nice at the back, not folding up. So what you see me do here is just to slash open the back pattern, and then I'll also cut out the parts for the back tightening. What I've just done on the zipper area on the waistline is what we call back tightening. So before cutting it out, I decided to just mark the initial. I'm going to mark the initial neckline for the back using the front pattern now. And then I did use 1 inch for the depth, and then the same inches I use for the front for the width. So that is what I've done. And then I'll go ahead now. Before cutting it out, I'll also mark the sewing allowance. It's very important. It's very, very important. Yeah, so that's what I've done. 1 inch for the depth and 3 inches for the width. Yeah, so go ahead and cut it the same way. You want to make sure you pin it down so that it doesn't shift or move. Another thing you didn't see me do here is to put back the 0.75 that I cut out from the waistline at the back on the zipper side. I didn't add it to the side. I deliberately did not add it, and this will still fit nicely even after taking my 1.5 inches for the sewing allowance on the side. Yes, because we're trying to eliminate those back bulge, those folding at the back. There's a shape we have at the center back. At a center back, you see that you always notice it, that the center back has this deep kind of a shape at the back. That's where you help to eliminate it. So we need to cut it that's out to make it relax nicely, fit nicely. So that is what we've done, and we are done with that part of the body. Now to the sleeve now, guys. To the sleeve, let me know in the comment section if I'm too fast, so that yes, but I guess you can understand what I'm doing here. This is me. I've gone ahead to fold another fabric. I want to cut both sleeves together, for both ends, left and the right hand side. And this is what you see me doing here, is to ensure, just to measure to be sure that I have enough for the length and the width. So I've gone ahead to cut that part out, then I'll explain better to you. And this, we're going to be cutting a straight sleeve, not a straight one, but we're going to be altering it into the kind of a sleeve that is on the dress, right? Yeah, we're trying to recreate the style, but not the pattern. Guys, don't get me wrong, we're recreating the style, not the pattern. So that's the starting point of the sleeve. I decided to leave that allowance for by the time we'll be adding a sewing allowance. Then go ahead and measure the length of the sleeve. That is where you see me. So I've measured the length for the sleeve, and the next thing is to get a cap height line where we do the shaping. So I made this of 4.5. That's bust divided by 12 plus 1 inch. So that's the line you will see me draw now. That's 4.5 from the starting point of the sleeve. So you rule that line, that's for the cap height. Then to get the width of the sleeve, that will be bust, the same thing I use for the chest line, bust divided by 6 plus 1.5. So that's the sleeve width that I've drawn there. Next thing is to connect the lines together, that part of the starting point to the cap height, then get the midpoint of it. As you see me doing the video, get the midpoint, then go in and out by 0.5. Then you use a curve ruler to shape it that way. Get your curve ruler and shape it. Remember, you need to go in by 0.5 and go out by 0.5. There is a reason for that, and I'm still going to explain further in the video. So use your curve ruler to shape it that way, and that's how to shape the sleeve. You know, the shape we have at the armhole side when joining it. So initial width of the sleeve is what we have marked on the fabric, but for the at the hem side where the sleeve is going to end, I first extended it by 3, then 4. I was trying to see if 3 inches would be okay or 4 inches. Then I will just connect it that way, right from the armhole side. That's the on the cap height line on that part, you see. So I was trying to see which of the two should I go for. So before you cut it out, remember to add your sewing allowance. I almost forget here. I'm not used to freehand cutting. I'm always used to pattern. So after doing that, you just want to go ahead and cut it out. So there's one more thing which I'm still going to tell you. That's not the end. For this sleeve, it's not going to be lined. I'm just using the fabric only. And the way the style is, it's going to have opening. Yeah. So, and the next thing I went ahead to do was we'll open out the pattern. Then, you know, the part we went in, we need to trim that part off. But then you remember to add your sewing allowance, 0.5. Yes, on that part. That's the part for the front, where you'll be joining to the front, towards the front, and the other side for the back. So then one more thing we're going to do here is to shape the edge of it on that part so that it won't be that pointed. So I decided to remeasure it again. Remember to always add the sewing allowance before you cut out. Very important, so you don't have shortage or the sleeve being short. So I went in by 1 inch on that part, and then there's going to be opening from where you see my tape, from where I mark on the tape there. I only joined that part a little bit from the armhole to that part. Then the other part I'm going to top stitch and leave it open. That's the way the style is. You just want to sew it. Make sure you what I'll be doing is just to stitch on that part, and that's it. Then we'll leave it open, and that's the sleeve cut already, guys. It's so simple. Where we get to the part of the sewing where we'll be stitching everything together, I'm going to explain more further. But that's the way you can see it. That part is going to be open. Yeah, so that is it. And then that's what I've thought to show you guys. The next thing is to cut our facing. Yeah, we've cut the neckline. Now to the facing. This is the facing for the back. You want to make sure you have another piece of fabric to place underneath. Then trace the neckline out. Trim it out like that. And then towards the shoulder, so you want to do that on that side. Then determine how wide you want it. Mine wasn't that wide, let's say 4 inches or 3.5. Then I'll just connect it that way. Can you see that? This is just to turn the neckline. When you turn it this way, the neckline will be neat. There will be nothing like a stitching, like stitch when you stitch like a thread showing on that part. That's the way I want to do it. Just turn it and then stitch it together, turn it, then I'll put my stay to hold it down. So that's what I'll be doing. Just put the stay to hold it down, and that is it. I will slash it open because it's the center back. It's already cut out with the fabric, so the zipper allowance already added. So that is how to cut that part. Now we go to the back one, and the front rather. You want to make sure you have enough fabric for the front because of the split in front. And when doing this, you want to place it, make sure it aligns at the center. And not only that, you want to make sure there's enough allowances where you'll be cutting extend beyond the split, the end of the split. You know, we mark from the width of the, sorry, the neckline. I did make this of 3 by 4 inches, then another 4 inch, making everything the depth now, the length to be 8 inches because of the split in front. So that's what I, depending on how where you want the split to end, you might want to show some cleavage, fine. You want to measure that on your body, and then go ahead and trim it out the same way we did for the back. You just trim it that way using the pattern to cut the neckline area, the shoulder area, then turn the fabric to the other side, and then trace your facing, but make sure it extends beyond the end of the split. Yeah, because you're going to be turning that part as well. So is it that you cuff it that way, or you just use any shape at all? But I love to do it this way. You can see that my facing did not extend to the armor, like, no, sorry, not to the armor, to the edge of the shoulder where we're going to be joining the sleeve to. No, I didn't make it to get to that part. So, and that is it for the cutting of the facing. And yes, guys, that is for the cutting of the face. You want to go ahead and, okay, one more thing I'm going to do here is to, now it's time to slash open that part for the slip, for the split rather. Yes, you see that part, that's for the split. Yeah, let me not make mistake. Split, yeah, not slit. Slit is for skirt, this is split. So that is it, guys. And then by the time I'll be sewing it, I'll mark that part, just a little bit sewing on that part. From that part I touched just now, it's going to be 2.5. When we get to the sewing time, I'll explain better. So this is the cutting of the, to the cutting of the pocket now. I love to cut my pocket this way. Then I will attach it. I'll show you the techniques I use in attaching my pocket, the pocket to the body, yeah, of any outfit at all. And because it's going to be, that's using my left hand side, and then there's going to be opening from where your hand is going to go into your pocket. I did left like 5 or 5.5 or 6 inches there about. You can use between that 6 or 5 inches depending on how big your arm is, but normally, yeah, I use this for somebody that is even of plus size. And okay, so then go ahead and trace it out that way. Spread out your arms, you're not just, you see, there's so much room, like allowance, what I left inside the pocket. So you don't just want to use your finger only to cut it, if not it's going to be very small. I mean your arm only. When spread out, you want to give some room, like leave it to be a little bit bigger. So that is what I've done on that part. You can see that. And then I'll cut 4 pieces of this for both sides. And this is me on the sewing machine trying to join the neckline, to turn the neckline with the facing for the back. So I've gone ahead to iron my stay on. I've done the overlocking, and now time to turn it. And you want to go ahead and turn on your sewing allowance. I did add it 0.5. Then that is it, guys. One thing I also did was to top stitch. You notch it to make it free, like relax. Notch is just a little cutting we normally did on that part. And then yeah, you can, after doing that, just go ahead and press it, then put your stay. But I still went ahead to top stitch, flipping the facing to the other side. I flip it, then I top stitch on the facing. But this is not compulsory. If you have an hemming gum, you are good to go. Just after turning it, iron it nicely, put your hemming gum inside it to stay nicely, to stay in place. So this is for the front. Remember to always mark it that way. Actually, I don't want the video to be too long, so in my next video I'm going to be showing you how I went about to stitch and join together the other parts, talking about the pockets and the finishing aspect of it. So this is how far we're going to go on this particular video. You can see the way I'm turning the neckline for the front, and towards the parts that will go into the split, I used 0.5 on that part for the neckline, and on this part it's going to be 0.25 because I don't want the split to be too wide. Yeah, 0.25 on that part. Then I went ahead to sew very tiny towards this part. here, not v-neck now, this is a split, but just 0.25 at the top and a little bit tiny down. So I also reverse this machine then, so it's very so tiny closely like that. And on this part again 0.25. Then for the neckline, the remaining part of the neckline was 0.5. So then all I did was to just, you'll see what I did. Then like I said guys, if you haven't given this video a thumbs up, please do to give it a like, subscribe, follow me, and in my next video I will show you the sewing techniques, how I did went about to join the pocket and how it turns out to be. If you have found this video useful, please do well to subscribe. Like I said, follow me, subscribe, comment, to keep me, like, to motivate me to keep making more videos. Thank you so much guys. So I'll see you in my next video. And if there's any video at all you want us to, anything you want me to show you, feel free to ask and state it in the comment section. I will create a video on that. So this is the neckline, and for this one I didn't